Okay, my friends, it is officially 2025, and if you haven't set any goals for this year yet, do not worry because I've got you. I'll be going through step-by-steps of how I normally set up my goals so that I make sure that I achieve everything that I want to achieve for the year. And my hope for this video is for you to be able to do the same for 2025. And I'll also be sharing my exact goals for this year. So if you like something real, then I think you are going to like this video. Many of you may have New Year resolutions already, but I think we all know better now that most people fail their New Year resolutions even before we enter February. And I know that a lot of us, we are going to get by anyway, whether or not we set the goals for the year. You are going to have some good times or some bad times. But what we don't want really is to just let life pass us by, because trust me, I've been there. Time is going to pass you by anyway, regardless. You might as well just make it count. Planning and goal setting means that you can live life intentionally for this year, and you can aim to have the best year that you have had so far, and the year that you can get closer to the ideal life that you want. And I think that's enough said about the importance of goal setting and how important it is to live life intentionally. The first step before we set any goals for this year, and what I normally do, especially if you're someone who normally set goals every single year, I think it's important to look back at what worked and didn't work the year before. What kind of goals that you set last year that you achieved, and what kind of goals that you set that you didn't achieve, and why? For me, I set 11 goals for last year and I was able to achieve 8 of them. I managed to read 4 books, acquire a business which was a dog grooming salon, and on top of that, I was able to also open the second location, which wasn't even part of the plan, but it just happened. I also managed to increase net profit margin for the business by 5%. I became confident, I became more resilient, less reactive, and I lost my body fat. I also moved to the US, which if you follow this channel for a while, you probably already know all this, but there were certain things that I didn't achieve. First of all, I didn't feel like I built that strong of a personal brand. I also did want to reach a net income after tax of $100,000 a year, which I didn't, but that's understandable. I think looking back, that was way too ambitious for someone that just, acquired the business, moved over. I had to take a pay cut because I'm starting over a new business in the industry that I had absolutely no experience in. So I think that goal was extremely ambitious and something that I didn't achieve. I also wanted to dance bachata in Dominican Republic, but in the hindsight, I think the reason why I didn't really achieve that goal was because it was just not important, I guess, at the time, comparing to the rest of the goals that I had. I set all my goals, intentions, and track all my goals in Notion page, and I want to show you my entire process, and I want to set my goals together with you. So let's do that. Okay, so what we're aiming for really in order to achieve all your goals and everything that you want in life, we need focus. Today, we're living in the world where we are bombarded with lots of information. I'm not sure if you have been through this, but I went through phases of one day wanting to do something because so-and-so person is doing it and it looks cool. And then the next day wanting to go a different direction because other people were doing it and it also looked really cool. Being intentional, focused, and have a clarity of the life that you want, your ideal life, is so important. If you've never done this, before you set your intentions or the goals for the year, even more important to ask yourself what sort of lifestyle that you want, what sort of person that you want to become. Because, some of these goals that you're setting are going to take maybe a month to accomplish. Some of these goals are going to take a year, and some of these goals are going to take multiple years to accomplish. So it is important to know what you're working towards. towards. If you're not clear about your ideal life and the life that you want to live, I do highly recommend you doing a full life audit so that you understand the gaps of where you are and where you want to be, and then what you need to do to be able to get there. I do have a video talking about life audit in depth, and I will leave that in the description below. I did my full life audit last year, and to be honest, it hasn't really changed much. I still want to achieve the same thing that I wanted to achieve last year. So everything that you see, all the goals that you see that I'll set this year, is a part of accomplishing that overarching goal, that ideal life that I want to get to in the next 5 years. And for me, really, my ideal life that I'm working towards is to have a happy home, a sizable home next to the water, be a mother, be a role model, be someone who inspiring others, being a successful businesswoman. And for me, success is to reach a certain level of income so that that financial goal can support the balanced lifestyle that I want to live. So what you want to do is every single year, when you sit down and set your own goals for the year, you want to set out whatever you can do to get to even a tiny bit closer to that ideal life that you want to have for yourself. The next thing is to set the vibe for the year. Again, what we're trying to work towards is focus. So it is good to have a theme or the vibe for the year. What will be your vibe for this year? What do you want the most out of it? Do you want this year to be the year where you transform your health? Do you want this year to be the year of change, where you change career, where you change jobs, change country? The vibe for me for 2023 was the year of reinvention, and for last year 2024 it was the year of braveness, the year of being bold, the year of challenging all my fears. And I feel like as a whole, although there were some goals that I didn't achieve, I kind of achieved the vibe that I did have for the year. You know, I changed country, I quit my job, and I started a new career completely. And the vibe for this year, the focus that I want this year to be, is really to put myself first. I think there's a lot of misconceptions that, you know, as a business owner, you are a boss babe, get everything you want, you work, I don't know, 4 hours a day, and you know, you're rocking life. But the reality is, being a business owner means that you have, well, I personally have 6 staff working for me. All the time that I spend mostly is to making sure that they are happy. All the time that I spend is to make sure that the customers are happy. As a business owner, you get paid the last, you get praised the last. It's sometimes a very underappreciated job. But what I want to set out for this year is to put myself first. I am soon going to be turning 39, and I want this year, the year that before I turn 40, to be the year that I want to wrap up all the things that I want to do for myself before I enter another decade in life. I would love to know what the vibe for you this year, and if you want to share that, please do share in the comments. So now that I have my ideal life and the vibe for the year, now my focus is even more narrow. And with this narrower focus, I want to think about what I want to achieve this year, all the goals for this year. Now you can split them into many different categories that you like, but I normally do 4 categories, and that's personal growth, career and finance, physical and mental health, and also experiences. These are all very important personal goals, and I still can't believe I'm sharing this online, but I think a lot of people suffer with this and go through this, and it's not being talked about. So I want to talk about this because I want to humanize it and normalize it. I want to put having a child as one of my main goals this year. And oh God, I'm gonna try my best to not get emotional. And by the way, if you want to get exact same Notion page that I'm using, I'll leave the link in the description. This is probably going to be the first year where I'm not going to be setting subscriber goals for YouTube. I think it's so out of my control, and that's what I learned from goal setting from the prior year. YouTube algorithm is something that I can't control, so instead of setting a goal of reaching certain subscribers or having a certain personal brand, my goal for YouTube for this year is simply just to post 2 or 3 videos a month. For career and finance, here's the thing: when you set your goals, a lot of times we set the goals that too easily achieve and where we don't feel challenged. I would challenge you that when you do this exercise, pick one goal that out of all the goals that you're setting, just one goal that you think is so obnoxious, that you think is almost impossible for you to reach. You'll be surprised how much you can actually do and how much you can actually achieve. I'm gonna set a very obnoxious goal for my business for this year, is to open 2 more locations. It's a stretch, but if I can just achieve 80% of what I set out to do, I consider that already a success. If you watch my previous videos, you know that I just moved from the UK to the US 7 months ago, and with that there was a lot of expenses. A lot of our savings have depleted, so now we are in the phase of rebuilding personal emergency fund, because now we're living in the States and we are only going to be here for I think 5 years. I want to visit 2 new states. So these are all the goals and the vision that I have for myself this year. This contributes to the vibe of, you know, putting myself first. And also I know that if I work on these, it will contribute to my 5 years goal. If you've followed along so far and you've got to this point with me, and if this is all you do, then I can almost guarantee that you will not achieve any goals that you just written, because there's 2 problems with the normal goal setting that most people do. The first problem with these goals is, as you can see, there are 10 goals here. There are many of them, and there's no prioritization. When there's so many choices, when there's so many things to do, your brain gets overwhelmed, you get overwhelmed, and you will end up doing nothing. Now, the second problem with these goals is that they are not SMART goals. They're not specific, and they're not measurable, and they're not time bound. So I urge you to not stop here, because the next thing that we are going to do is to set a system so that we make sure that all these goals, you will achieve them. 2 years ago, I read the book called The 12-Week Year, and it was such life-changing in terms of how I set my goals. Instead of setting goals for the whole 12 years, which most people do not achieve, set your goals or your focus just for the 12 weeks, the 3 months, the quarter. Out of those 10 goals that I set, I am going to pick 3 to 4 to work on this quarter. So having a child is going to be my main focus for the quarter, and the way that I'm going to make it a SMART goal is set a time bound to it. Another goal that I want to focus on is open 2 more locations. I know that opening 2 locations are going to take some time, but I want to do a few task actions so that I can contribute to opening more locations later on in the year. So I am also going to prioritize that, save up my personal emergency funds. So now I have converted all my goals into SMART goals. You know, they are time bound, they're measurable, they are achievable, they are very specific. But even though you've done all this, in order to make this year your best year, you need to set up actions that you want to do every day, every week, and every month in order to get closer to these goals. Every single week I set up tasks that I want to do in order to get closer to the goals that I set. For example, let's say my goal to post 40 videos this year, and how do I do that? How do I get to posting new videos, 10 videos in a quarter? And every day I'll open this Notion page, check through all the things that I need to do, and I will tick through them if I've done them. I also have another video that goes through my 12-week action-based scorecard in detail. I'll leave that in the description as well. But guys, these are all the goals that I am working towards this year. If any of these sounds interesting to you, and if you want to follow my journey, be sure to subscribe for future videos. I love you so much and I appreciate you. I hope you're ready for the exciting 2025, and I know already that it is going to be the very best year for you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.